Hello. In my Jackson's Art Haul video a week or so ago, I showed you this little paint palette, which I want to use for gouache paints. So I thought today I would do a little gouache video. It's got this rubber inner lid which fits nicely into the partitions. So yeah, I'm going to put some gouache paints in there today, and I'll check back in and see how they've got on. So I've got quite a few nice art books, and I thought I might start sharing some of my books with you. And I thought I'd start off, fittingly enough, with Get Started with Gouache by Emma Block. I think this was the first gouache book that I purchased, and it's a nice little book as a starting point. I really love it. I love that so many of the art books now, there are paintings of the art materials. They just really appeal to me. I'm not sure why they do so much, but they do. Yeah, so this is a nice little book that explains all the basics, as you'd expect. And she talks about her favourite basic palette. And if you've not worked with gouache before, sorry, I just do interject. I think maybe because I've watched lots of American videos on gouache, that's what I call it. I've said it to some of my English friends, and they're like looking at me like, what? And I think more people here pronounce it gouache, but I've got stuck calling it gouache now, so yeah. So in the book, I think one of the things I liked, there's some really straightforward little projects, step by step. Yeah, they're really pretty. In fact, I haven't had this book out for a while. It's sparking some ideas. I really like Emma Block's style. Yeah, so I started off with this project, A Girl with Flowers. Because gouache does have its unique properties, so it's good to kind of follow through and do a project like this just to start playing with it and seeing how it works. So here's my very scruffy, this is just a mixed media album, so this is me just playing around with different things. Yeah, so following the tutorial, this was my gouache painting. So I started back in February 2 years ago. That's another one I tried out. And then I think I just had a scour the internet and look at every single style of flower that I thought would translate well into gouache. Just have a playful page there. And yeah, then I wrote down a few things that I learnt about gouache from different places. I liked this analogy of comparing gouache to different drinks and food types, depending on its dilution. So yeah, tea, coffee, milk, cream and butter, with the cream and butter being gouache in its opaque state. And then this is where I started to get brave and try and do my own picture. This is based on my little desk in the corner of my dining room. So yeah, oh, there's some collage I did of sheets that I painted with gouache. Oh, and some butterflies, I think, yeah, they're gouache as well. I'll leave that one for another book. I think I used another book for a guideline for that flower painting. Okay, so this is how I, sorry, I'm a bit close here. I've got an old art storage box that I keep my gouache in. So on the top layer I've got whites and neutrals, gold and silver. And then inside I just divided the box into, looks like I've got yellows, oranges, browns, greens and blues in the middle, and then reds, pinks and purples at this end. And this was just a plastic tub I put in to act as a divider. As you can see, all of my gouache are Winsor & Newton designers gouache. Before I bought any, I just did some research on the internet as to what were generally regarded as a good brand. And they're pretty readily available to me, so I went with those. I've got their colour range leaflet here. Let's take a look at it. It's a bit battered now. At some point I'll have a look at Schmincke's and Holbein's gouache ranges and see if there's some other colours I fancy adding. But I have to say I have been really happy with these paints. They do seem opaque and lovely. And this is this is my own playing around colour sheet that I made for my gouaches. So I've got the mass tone as the largest circle, and then just different gradients of white mixed in. If you're a pastel fan, I think gouache has got to be the way to go. Just make the most beautiful creamy pastel colours. And you obviously don't need this many paints. You can easily mix and create a gorgeous range of colours through mixing a few basic colours. The Winsor & Newton gouache have quite good light fast ratings. So just looking around briefly at the sheet, well, similar with watercolours. With artists' watercolours, most of them are AA or A, extremely permanent and permanent. And just having a look, obviously you've got the Bengal rose, which is kind of an opera rose type colour. That one's fugitive. And then a couple of the pinks are moderately durable. But everything else is in the A or AA category. So that's my little gouache setup. So now I'm just going to decide which 16 colours I want to put in here, and then I'll get on with that.
Windows down, scattered clouds, smell of spring outside, open road.
Okay, so I've picked out what I think are my 16 for the palette. I just realised I haven't included black, which I probably should. Right, let me have a think. Okay, I think I've decided now. So I've picked out a cooler red, this flame red, and a warmer red, the primary red. So take a look at those. I really love this flame red because of the gorgeous warm pink that it makes, kind of a shell pink. And then the primary red makes some nice cooler pinks. This is this one here. So yeah, that's those two. I really like and use quite a lot. Well, originally it was called Flesh Tint, but I think not very representative of flesh colour. It's now called Pale Rose Blush. That's my newer refill tube. And I thought I'd put the marigold yellow in there because I just think it makes it's all the pastel, it's all the pale versions that I'm really drawn to, the pastel-y versions. What else have we got? So we've got quite a good neutral, cooler leaning yellow, primary yellow. And then I've got the warm permanent yellow deep. So that's these two. Then I chose linden green because it's a lovely kind of pea green. But for convenience, it's probably easier just to have it as a convenience colour than mix it up myself. And for a turquoise, I went with cypress green. Because if I look at the turquoises here, this is cypress green here, mixed with titanium white, or they call it permanent white. That gives me quite a good range of turquoises, whereas the other two turquoises, the cobalt turquoise light and turquoise blue, they're pretty in their own right, but I can get somewhere similar just with the cypress green. Then we've got, I went with olive green and Windsor green for my warm and cool greens. So there's the olive green here and the Windsor green here. I like the greener mint version that it makes. I think the cypress green and the Windsor green are really lovely. Then I've got ultramarine for my warm blue, and I picked indigo for my cooler blue. So yep, I've got the ultramarine and the indigo. And then for my earth colours, I've got yellow ochre, burnt sienna, so yellow ochre here. I like Naples yellow, but I can get pretty similar with the yellow ochre. Sorry, what did I say? Burnt sienna and burnt umber. Burnt sienna again, that makes all these beautiful tones. And the burnt umber I really love, I've used that quite a lot. I just absolutely love, again, the more pastel versions of that. I've kept the white as an extra because I'll probably just take a tube of that because I rely on the permanent white so much. I'll probably just carry a separate tube along with this palette. So I'll go ahead and put some in my palette.
I'll be just fine. Heading for the western shore, where the sun it slowly fades. Days are full, and I spend them with you. So let's go somewhere far away.
Okay, so there they all are in there. A couple of them had separated a bit. I've not used them in a few months, so I'll just give them a good stir. And the burnt sienna and burnt umber were pretty thick. Okay, so I'm going to pop that lid on there. As you can see, it sits in quite snugly, so we'll see how I get on with that. The first catch holds that quite securely, and then this all fits inside a little extendable water pot. I've been using this since I got it, and it's actually really nice to work with. I wonder actually if there's room for the white under here. Yeah, that fits quite nicely. It's not pushing out too much. That's great. So yeah, that and a water bottle and a travel paintbrush and a little pad, and you're away. Okay, so I'll leave it there, and I will do a follow-up in a couple of months and see how this palette's got on. Thanks ever so much for watching. Bye.